Hey there, comic friends, I'm Travis. It's time for an edition of Monster Comics Reviews, but then you know that from watching the intro, right? So I need to quit saying that. Any rate, this is for comics for the week of June 25th, 2014. Let's hop right into some comic books, shall we? Batman, issue number 32. My understanding this next issue is the last of the 0 year. Yeah, I hate to say it, I'm kind of looking forward to it being done. I hadn't been saying that up till about now. I'm just kind of, this issue irritated me in a number of ways. First, we get the opening page, which shows us a young Bruce Wayne at wintertime dropping coins into, I don't know if it's Alfred, Hobo Alfred, or what, some street person saying, I really need a butler. And then that's it. That page doesn't attach to anything else, has nothing to do with anything else in this issue. It doesn't make any sense how it correlates to anything in the issue unless you can explain to me how it does. I don't see how it does. There have been other issues that have had this kind of thing go on too. Some of those I could kind of half grasp as to how that matches up to what's currently going on in the book, but not really. And this one I really don't. So for me, all I can say is that it infuriates me and really feels like it's written for a trade. So you're pretty much screwing me as the single reader, because there's no way I can enjoy that unless I have to go back and then reread them all, and I shouldn't have to do that to enjoy the book. I should want to go back and read them all because I enjoyed the book, not try and figure out how those pieces all fit together. So that's pretty frustrating. In this issue, there's a lot of build-up, a lot of hype of they're going to get the Riddler, and then they screw up. The Riddler's quicker, smarter than them. Batman finally guesses to where he's at. Has this kind of dramatic conversation that I guess is the important part of this whole thing, about the fact that maybe what Batman is really about is about failing and then picking yourself up and going on even after you failed, because he's potentially failed this. Then he finally finds the Riddler, actually has the Riddler on hand, shows up, yells, "Am I right?" And sure enough, there's the Riddler. And then he has this conversation with the Riddler where he's just standing there right next to the Riddler having this conversation, about how smart the Riddler is, blah, blah, blah. It goes on for 3 or 4 panels, a page plus. And then finally, suddenly, he gets irritated again, gives us some vengeful striking pose like he's gonna do something to the Riddler, and too late, he's screwed because the Riddler's dropped some death trap on him of some sort. Well, to me, that just seems crazy. This guy's got the whole place enslaved. You're about ready to have airstrikes put on Gotham that will send Gotham into the Dark Ages for forever. Not to mention it's going to kill a ton of people. And he's kind of, if he had pockets in his batsuit, he'd have his hands in his pocket having this conversation with the Riddler. Makes no sense. As soon as he sees the Riddler's there, he should be drop kicking the dude into next week. So boo, as far as that goes. So I wasn't really happy with this issue. There's just a lot about it that make me go, that's dumb. Why would he react this way? Why would he be this way? And I'm tired of boring covers too. This is a boring cover. Giant question mark and Riddler at the bottom looking up, a Batman stuck in a web. Really? I don't know. At any rate, looking forward to it being done. Yay. That's all I gotta say. Batman Eternal. This is issue number 12. I'm still enjoying this. I continue to kind of like the weekly thing. Wets my whistle, makes me wonder what's next. Doesn't give me too much time to think about it too hard, because I could probably start punching holes in stuff like other people have talked about. But still just kind of fun. It's just a fun weekly book of seeing where things got. You can tell, I can tell anyway, when different writers are jumping on it because of the way they do stuff. There's a kind of a bomb that we all knew about gets dropped on some characters at the end of this. I'll see with the next week's books what that ends up, how that all plays out, as to whether I think that's cool or not. But otherwise, it's just fun. It's just a fun weekly book, and I kind of enjoy the whole weekly thing. So it's surprisingly has been fun. COWL issue number 2. Still really liking this book. I still really love the artwork. It's kind of a painted Bill Sikowitz kind of a thing that I enjoy. I think it's pretty cool. That wise, I'm still really interested in the whole unionized superhero thing. We're starting to build some characterization in here. We get some characterization built with this one guy. His name is Grant. He's part of COWL, doesn't have a superhero name, doesn't have a superhero costume. He's just good with guns. He has to deal with his son, and his son is 13, kind of thinks his dad is dumb and embarrassing because he's part of COWL and he doesn't have a superhero name, and he doesn't have a costume. He's just a guy with a gun. And he finds it kind of embarrassing. Typical teenage kind of things, which I found that cool. We get the hint of a potential big plot issue in the fact that it sounds like that maybe somebody within COWL has been feeding the villains tech to keep them cutting edge, to keep them a threat, to potentially obviously keep COWL in business as we're doing these contract negotiations. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm thoroughly liking it. It's got some interesting stuff going forward in it, and yeah, I have no intention of dropping that anytime soon or even made. Here's a book that I'm all for dropping, except for the final page of this. So we'll just get straight to the final page of it, and that's why I've still got the book, because I'm kind of tired of Justice League. It's always been a book I've always gotten, but going through this whole Forever Evil thing, it's just very flat. Jeff Johns feels very flat to me as a writer, so I just haven't really been enjoying it. But we get this, Doom Patrol, which, of course, if you've been watching my videos, you know, huge Doom Patrol fan, so if it's going to keep flirting with Doom Patrol, I'll keep picking it up for that. That being said, the other part of this I don't really care for. In this, basically Lex Luthor goes, look, to Bruce Wayne, I know you're Batman, and that gets exposed. I mean, it literally gets exposed because he blows a hole in Part of Wayne Manor and exposes the trip down, the stairs down, the elevator down to the Batcave. I hate it when villains like this know superheroes' secret identities. It's just screwed up. How do you ever fix that? How do you ever backtrack? So Lex Luthor, who right now is a hero, but at some point he's going to go back to being Lex Luthor. We all know he is. How are they going to write that out? How are they going to fix that? It just bothers me. It's one of those kind of things that just, it never goes well. And I'm not saying it never goes well for the characters. It never goes well for the story. Ultimately, at some point, we have to brainwash somebody or something to fix it. And that part of it bugs me. I do kind of like the idea of Lex Luthor and Captain Cole being on the Justice League and the other heroes having to kind of deal with these people who are viewed as heroes by the common person, because they're really the people who rescued everybody. That is interesting, but I still intend on dropping Justice League unless there's some fundamental, massive changes somewhere, because I don't trust Jeff Johns to actually deliver the story that they're hinting at here, because he hasn't been in the New 52 for me. So yeah, a few more issues of this because I know that Doom Patrol's in it for a while longer. Cross my fingers and holding out for a Doom Patrol book. We'll see how they're building here. The solicitations kind of make them sound like they're a villain, but they're the misunderstand team, so I can see them using solicitations in that way. Anyway, okay issue. Lots of frustrating plot points for me. Excited by the last page. And finally for this time, Ms. Marvel, issue number 5. I believe this is the end of the story arc. Inside the page, the splash page that kind of tells what's been going on, makes that somewhat confusing, but I really think this is the end of the arc. Love this cover. Nice, simple cover here of her sitting on a lamppost. Really like this character. She is a charming teenage girl who has to deal with teenage issues, her parents, trying to represent her family, trying to represent herself, and all of these things in a decent fashion. We get this little great montage of her trying to figure out her powers more, how they work, how she can be effective. It's cool that she doesn't just, I got superpowers, and immediately she knows how to use them to an effective way. She's learning, and it shows that she's learning through this whole process, and I'm enjoying that. I hope we get to see a lot more of that, of her continue to learn. Okay, I know this works. She's going to keep going to it because that's her go-to, the giant hands and that sort of stuff. At some point, she's going to run into something, I hope, where that isn't working. Okay, that doesn't work. Now she's got to work through how to make things work or whatnot. So really interested in that. If you read this book, the character that's at the very end of it, this parrot-headed person, is that a new character, or is that something from Marvel that somehow I just missed somewhere along the way? A character that got introduced in the late 90s that when I wasn't looking at any Marvel books or paying attention to it. I don't know. Anyway, really enjoy this book. I recommend it. If you haven't been picking it up, I think you should go get the trade of it. It's just a really fun, enjoyable, relatable character. So, great stuff. And that is it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week when I'll be talking a bunch of Marvel books. I think it's the week that I get most of my Marvel books. Anyway, have a good one, everybody.